The U.S. Supreme Court has struck down the constitutional protection for abortions in the United States. It had been the law of the land under Roe v. Wade for nearly 50 years. Today's decision overturning Roe v. Wade is now expected to lead to immediate abortion bans in about 13 states, with 12 more expected to follow. Joining us right now is Congressman Seth Moulton. Congressman, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us. Have some questions for you, and I want to start with this one. This decision today by the court, a 6-3 decision, essentially ends the 50 years of precedent. There will be sweeping ramifications for women in a number of states immediately. What can we expect to happen now across the country in the coming days and weeks?
Well, let's just be clear. This is a dark day in American history because the Supreme Court is taking away rights, taking away freedoms from women across America. And although abortion is legal in Massachusetts and remains so, and we're going to fight to ensure that it remains legal here, this still has profound effects. Don't think that Republicans and others who are against that right are going to fight like hell to try to take it away, even from people right here in Massachusetts. So this is the beginning of a long fight ahead.
Well, and we're seeing now protests underway outside the U.S. Supreme Court. There are also protests planned for Boston and Worcester and a number of communities in Massachusetts. We'll see them at the State House in Copley Square. You mentioned that the law is intact in Massachusetts, but what impact might this have in our state?
Well, first of all, women are going to know that their rights are under assault and that people are coming for their rights, even right here in Massachusetts. Second of all, it means that there are going to be a lot of out-of-staters who come to Massachusetts to exercise that basic right to privacy, to freedom, to control over their own bodies. We're going to have to figure out how we can absorb patients from all across America who had that right taken away. And third, we have to take action at the state level to ensure that the next step of this highly politicized Supreme Court isn't to find a way to try to take that right away from people here in Massachusetts. So we have a lot of work ahead of us.
You know, the leaked draft of this opinion came out at the beginning of May. And so there's been some expectation that this decision would come. It was just a question of when. But based on comments that Clarence Thomas made today, there is some sense that other rights, same-sex marriage, the right to contraceptives, may also be next. What can we expect from lawmakers in Congress in the coming months with respect to protecting those rights?
Well, we all need to wake up and recognize that this is not the Supreme Court of yesteryear. This is a newly politicized Supreme Court made in the image of Republicans in Congress who want to take all of these rights away from Americans, no matter where you live. So we are going to have to take action in Congress to enshrine these rights into law in a way that we never even considered necessary in the past. And as long as this Supreme Court stays intact, this politicized right-wing Supreme Court that is against the will of the majority of Americans, we are all going to have to work to protect our rights and freedoms. Our freedom is under assault. And so what I tell Americans here and far away from Massachusetts is it is time to march peacefully, to organize relentlessly, and to vote like your freedom depends upon it, because it does.
I think peacefully there is one of the key words, because we've seen so much division in this country, particularly in the last, let's say, 5-6 years. This creates an even bigger chasm between people who don't see eye to eye. What is your message to people here in Massachusetts right now on this day about the tenor in the country, about what's happening, and how they can have some stake in their future?
Well, what people in Massachusetts have to realize is that the politics that happens outside of Massachusetts really matters here at home. So it's not just about voting in your local elections, it's about organizing for candidates across the country. It's not just ensuring that these rights are protected here in Massachusetts, it's about fighting to ensure that these rights are protected nationwide. You know, shortly after I was elected, I stood up an organization called Serve America to try to elect patriotic Americans, freedom-loving Democrats in tough districts across the country, because that's the kind of work that we have to do to ensure that our rights are preserved, even right here at home in Massachusetts.
Congressman Seth Moulton, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.